Hi, I'm Whitney.
And I'm Taylor.
And we're the Ghost Sisters.
Oh my god. Gorgeous.
Thanks.
So this is episode 2, which is demonic, inhuman, and portal hauntings. And the inhuman part of it actually has a lot to it. So yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Neato.
Good talk.
Indeed. Where do we want to start?
I don't know. I mean,
just start with demonic. We'll just go down the list.
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. So demonic entities are, I want to start this out by saying demonic entities are incredibly rare. Like we mentioned in the last episode, most hauntings that people perceive as negative or demonic are actually just regular people or regular intelligent hauntings of people that are either dicks or just really trying to get your attention.
Right.
So, demonic entities have never had a human form, and they are actually, by some people, considered extraterrestrial because demonic automatically comes from demonic comes from the whole Christianity belief of God and Jesus and angels and demons and stuff. So because God and his angels are in heaven, it's considered outer space. Therefore, it is extraterrestrial.
Sure.
Right. So they are pure energy entities. Most of them don't have an actual physical form, but they're all ethereal. You might hear Sophie whining occasionally during
Yeah,
this.
she's like right next to the mic. So any snoring, that's not me, but it's my dog.
So they can take the form of angelic beings. They can be beautiful, and that will cause you to commit sins. Like they'll try to manipulate you to commit sins. They can look horrific or absolutely hideous, and that's because they know what scares humans, and they're trying to feed off of your fear. So they can also come off as black mists or fog or shadows or smoke. Just kind of depends. The famous thing that they're known for is smelling like sulfur or rotting flesh, which I've smelled. Like sulfur is actually one of my favorite scents. I don't know why. I love the smell of burning matches and stuff.
Rotten eggs and farts.
I mean, that's methane. Farts is methane.
Yeah, but some farts, they're
dude, I've had my farts smell sulfuric before.
They're pretty rough. Yeah, so
they can be.
And I mean, rotten eggs.
Yeah. But no, I enjoy the smell of sulfur. I don't know why. But so if you smell that and there's no origin for that, that's supposedly a demonic entity being nearby.
So you like the smell of demons. You've been sniffing some demons. I like what you're putting out.
Oh, God. I've also got growling with no point of origin. Pushing, shoving, hitting, scratching. Again, all of that can also be attributed to intelligent hauntings. Air will feel thick and the temperature will drastically become warmer. Most intelligent hauntings and residual hauntings, the air is supposed to become colder. Mm-hmm. So people typically use temperature to determine if it's, good versus bad.
Now I'm like, I feel like temperature is misleading. Legit. In general. Because, it can be hot, it can be cold.
Yep. And everybody experiences temperature differently.
Yeah.
So, what's hot for our dad
oh my God. Fucking 120.
Yeah. So our dad is an old man and he perpetually lives in a state of freezing.
Okay. So obviously we're in Texas. Mm-hmm. If you are in Texas, it's hot as fuck sometimes.
Yes.
So this man will turn his AC in his car to 90 or to 80, whatever the highest is, and then roll his windows down with a long sleeve shirt or a sweater on and be like, ah. So like I get in and I'm like, this is some bullshit. And I turn the thing down and he was like, what are you trying to do? Freeze me out? And I'm like, it's 72. So yeah, he would probably be like, it's fucking freezing in here. And we're like, yeah, they just turned the heater on.
Right.
So his ghost experience would be different than ours.
Exactly. So, and that all comes down to what is the quote unquote sensible temperature, which is the perceived temperature of humans. So like if I walk outside right now, it's actually cold outside right now at 47 degrees. But when I walk outside, it feels like 20 to me. So that's different for everybody. So
yeah,
temperature can be a little bit misleading. That's why we have instruments that will actually record the temperature to show those shifts.
But again, it's still like, if it just, I don't know.
A lot of it can be environmental factors too.
Yeah.
Like you have to make sure that the AC is not on and that kind of stuff.
It just seems like a very iffy way to tell.
Right. So the main goal of a demon is to break down free will in order to possess. And they can basically just kind of take however long they want to take because they are a time independent being. They don't necessarily need any kind of like time frame to do this. So
sorry if you hear a lot of like commotion. We are currently fighting between the dog and the microphone. Yes. So
they are, whenever they are exercised, so there's a certain point I've figured out.
They get on an elliptical.
So there's a certain point at which you can no longer handle them yourself. And that's whenever you have to go to a priest or a shaman. And that's where you get the exorcisms in. Mm-hmm. When they are exorcised, they're not destroyed. They just move someplace else because they can't be destroyed. So I've actually seen a few places that they're like, so once we get rid of this, what happens? And the priest is like, well, it goes someplace else. And they're like, so someone else could get possessed by this. And they're like, yep.
So priests really need to take on the Ghostbuster point of view of like having a contraption that will trap them. So really we need our priests to get with the Century and carry around the like little electric boxes that'll like
legit, yeah,
with the demon.
Yes. Typically they can be called on by summoning, like Ouija boards are famous for this. This is why I won't touch a Ouija board.
Yeah.
I know Dad used to play with Ouija boards at one point, and
that's probably why he needs it to be so hot.
He's been possessed all this time.
This whole time. That's why his dad jokes are so bad.
So also black magic, witches, dark witches, because there's of course the white witch and the black witch.
Yeah, I was gonna say not all witches are bad.
Yes. So black magic, Ouija boards actually summoning a demon, and then they feed off of negative emotions, fear, negative energy, and all that kind of stuff. So any of that can bring it in. The signs of a demonic haunting that I have here: strange noises, which can be anything really. This is kind of an escalation point. So animals or your pets being scared of certain things, which animals are said to be able to see into a different spectrum than we can. They can see into ultraviolet and infrared, I believe into infrared. But I think it's more ultraviolet. I think they see more on the shorter wave spectrum. And because of that, they can see things that we can't. And a lot of these entities, if they're good, the animal won't react really to them. If they're bad, then they'll react in a negative way. Then, of course, there's mysterious shadows, demonic nightmares. I have experienced some pretty nasty nightmares, not recently, but to the point where I've woken up and like turned all the lights on in my house because of how terrifying it was.
Yeah, I've never had that.
You've never had that?
Mm-mm. I've had like bad dreams before, but nothing where I've been like, holy fuck, I almost died.
Oh no, like I will struggle. I kind of hover in this point of sleep paralysis that I basically am like fighting to try to get my like smart home stuff to turn on all my lights.
Nope.
So yeah, that's good. I'm glad to know that I'm the that I experienced that myself.
Yeah.
Damage to religious symbols. That's assuming you have religious symbols in your house. Like I don't think either of us really have that. Even mom and dad don't really have that. Oh no, take that back. Mom has a wall of crosses.
She got a whole ball.
Bad luck, which is kind of subjective. Like I feel like that's an objective kind of thing. Like
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it depends on what you consider luck and what you're going for. Like you not winning the lottery, you're like, fuck, I'm possessed.
I must be possessed by a demon.
Like, no, it's just the odds are super duper against you.
Right.
So
visits by friendly ghosts or spirits. And this gets into like being visited by children.
Okay. I was like, you can't have both.
Right. Yeah, no. So like it's essentially the demon taking on the persona of a friendly thing. And that's actually, I've basically gotten to the point where anytime somebody's like, oh, it's a child spirit, I'm like, that shit's a demon.
It's fucked up. Don't do that. Do not say hi. Do not pass go. Do not collect $20.
Right.
Like,
I just, not about it. And then we get into the physical and psychological disturbances where you start becoming physically ill. People have even reported things like ulcers and cancers and that kind of thing coming up where otherwise they would be 100% healthy. And then, of course, psychological disturbances. You're talking about lack of sleep, possibility of getting on medications for certain other things. And then finally, you end in demonic possession.
I feel like a lot of that can also be attributed to anxiety.
Exactly. And that's actually something that pops up whenever we get into the shadow figure part of this. So another big thing is sudden personality shifts. If you see, like, because there was actually, I've seen several episodes of different shows where the person is totally fine as long as they are not in the house. And then the second that they come in the house, they switch over to this like very aggressive, very angry person.
You're talking about Zach.
I'm not talking about, I mean, Zach, yeah, he goes through things. We'll just leave it there. But like people that like even that person recognizes that they're not who they are. Oh, Alexa decided she was gonna, or Siri decided she was gonna find something for me.
Way to go, Siri.
Way to go, Siri.
Thanks.
So let's see. You should never try to communicate with one, and you should never try to remove it yourself. You should always try to get a priest or a shaman.
So what happens if you're communicating with the quote unquote little girl?
You're communicating with the demon.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to.
Right.
And if you don't know.
Right. And that's why they're so tricky. So if you end up with, you know, that kind of thing, like if you have a child, I would just kind of leave it alone, or maybe get somebody psychic in there. Like, let's give Chip Coffee a ring because Chip Coffee is one of my favorite people, or Cindy Casa or something like that, and give them a ring and see if they can come out and tell us if we got diamonds. Another thing, superhuman strength is a thing. Languages the person doesn't know, they're suddenly speaking in tongues. Aversion to holy objects. Knowledge of that a person shouldn't know, like lives, like, you know, areas that are like maybe past life kind of stuff. And then changes in facial features, which I have yet to hear of a case of somebody's facial features like legitimately changing. Well, no, I take that back.
By that, do you mean just like now they have a smirk or a smile versus like normally they're frowny?
No. So actually there's a video of a lady that is in she's in a house and she's sitting in front of a mirror. And when she turns to look at the mirror, the mouth opens to a point that is not human. Like, it's very weird. If I find that clip, I'll show it to you because it's kind of creepy.
That's not like a real thing.
So
there's no way that that's a real clip.
Again, it didn't happen to me, so I don't know. But
True.
that's something that's being tooted as that. So
toot toot.
Toot toot. So yeah, that's what I've got for our demonics.
Okay.
So go for it. What do you got?
So I took on angels.
Yes.
So there are apparently 9 types of angels, and I'm going to butcher the crap out of how to say a couple of these. So there's seraphim, cherubim, aka cherubs. By the way, they are not cute.
No.
They are like heads with 2 wings on them and stuff, and they like hang out with God.
I greatly enjoy the biblical descriptions of angels. Like, they're
terrifying.
horrific.
So then there's thrones. So that's the first hierarchy. There's a second hierarchy that has dominions, virtues, and powers. And then there's the third one, which we're more familiar with. And it's got the principalities, the archangels, and the angels. So the ones that we as humans would interact with would be, well, I guess we wouldn't interact with this one, but yeah, I guess we would. We'll find out. So the one in the second hierarchy, powers, has powers.
No.
Whoa. I literally wrote whoa in my my notes. So they have powers over the devil and over demons.
Okay.
By association with powers over the devil. So from that, they're able to obviously be like, hey, stop fucking with this person. But then they also are supposed to be there to help people who are struggling with different vices or fighting their own personal demons or are tempted by evil and sinning and all of that.
Gotcha.
So Powers angels, not Austin Powers, but Powers angels, are
you Randy, baby?
That's the opposite of what they're going for. So definitely not Austin Powers angels, but just Power angels.
Amazing.
So that's the first one. And then archangels, so they are the messengers of God. They're the ones that I guess would come and talk to you and be like, hey, God wants you to do this. Like the Smith who wrote the Book of Mormon, he was visited by an archangel, and the archangel gave him all of the rules and everything for Mormonism and whatnot. So he wrote all this down on the slabs.
The slabs.
The rock. The rock thing. And he walked out and he was like, bang, bang with the 2 rocks and was like, we're doing this shit. Anyways, so that's the archangels.
Okay.
They're the messengers. But that's really all they do with humans.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's angels. They're the lowest level of the whole hierarchy of heaven, I guess. And they are the ones that are really in touch with humans. They're actually very caring and they're very social. They like to come by and be like, hey, girl, what's up? So, yeah. But just like you with your demons, they have never been in a human form before. They actually don't really exhibit human forms whatsoever. They show up as light and flashes of light, streaks of light, balls, all that kind of stuff. But I got into this is very biblical. We're going to go on a journey here.
Okay.
Just because, angels. Angels. So they at no point should be prayed to or worshipped. That is for God and God alone. So they are able to take messages from humans, but they should not be prayed to. So I guess that also includes archangels. Like, you shouldn't pray to the archangel to help you find your keys, because I know that's a saint. That's
help you find your keys. I'm late for work.
There is a saint that you're supposed to pray to that helps you find things, and I, for the life of me, can't remember what it is. But that's and I'm not really sure why you can pray to a saint, but you can't pray to an angel. But
yeah,
that's a different story for a different day. But it's a thing.
Interesting.
Stop looking at me like that. So yeah, so they're not supposed to be prayed to or worshipped. God is the only one who can have those things, according to the Bible or whatever religion you participate in. So the last part of that gets me into that kind of stuff is guardian angels. So there's like mixed reviews, obviously based on whatever religion you're participating in. They're a thing. They're here. They're here for you.
Yeah.
Others, though, they believe it's not really that one angel has been told you have to go protect this one person. It's more God will protect me, so therefore I have an angel that's protecting me because it's the messenger of God, and God says I shall be protected. So, yeah, it kind of depends. I feel like, and again, I am not religious whatsoever, so if you guys feel a certain way about guardian angels, cool. I'm not saying that you can't, but it is what it is. So things that guardian angels may be responsible for would be like you had a near-death experience and now have come out of it and your life is going to change or something like that. Or you had cancer and just magically it's gone. Like your guardian angel took care of you and was like, nope, sucked out that cancer. Gone.
Oh, that's a terrible image.
Somehow, somewhere it said if you had a completely new idea out of nowhere, which I feel like I have a guardian angel all the fucking time.
Right?
Like, because that thing needs to calm the fuck down. Like,
that's the reason I have 1,400 hobbies.
Yeah, you need to chill out, guardian angel. And then also same with like, I guess, an artistic creation of some sort that also came out of nowhere. So if all of a sudden you were like, I'm going to paint the Grand Canyon, and if you'd ever been there, then your guardian angel was like, here you go. So
that almost sounds like automatic writing or automatic drawing.
It's guardian angel, apparently.
Well, that's like spirit guides and stuff. That's supposedly what that's supposed to be. Yeah.
When I was looking, they had spirit guides and guardian angels. They went hand in hand, and I picked the one.
Sure.
And moved on with my life. So
it's interesting.
Aside from guardian angels, I also have on here the angel of death. Yes. Because angels can be, it's not that they're evil, like good or evil. It's that they're doing, quote unquote, God's will. So if God's will is that you are to die, then the angel of death comes to take you.
Yes.
So it's not that he's bad, not that he's good. He's just doing a job.
Right.
He's doing the damn thing.
He earning that bread.
He doing it. So, but also depending on your religion. So I saw different things. So depending on your religion, if you are good in life, an angel, so the angel of death comes, kills you. And then angels will take you up to heaven or paradise or wherever and escort you there and be like, yay, welcome to the end of your eternity. Not the end, the beginning of your eternity. Okay. Not the end. But if you were bad or a sinner, then a demon would then come and get you and escort you to hell and chain you up.
Wouldn't that suck if you had no idea? And like,
and you're like, who the fuck are you?
Granted, that is that whole like intelligent spirits that hang around because they have no idea where they're going at the end.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Is it going to be an angel or a devil that gets me? Like, what's happening?
Yes.
So that could happen. And then from what I found, the angel of death can sometimes be referred to as Azrael.
Yeah.
So Azrael is the archangel angel of death. There's also such thing as like an angel of destruction. And then a few others that I didn't delve that far into it. But angels themselves cannot kill unless they have been given permission by God. And apparently demons are the same. They cannot kill without permission from Satan.
Interesting.
So, at least from religion that I've read about. That leads us into fallen angels. Yep. So, fallen angels rebelled against God. Yes. And therefore were kicked out. He was like, get the fuck out. Which really, I feel like, I'm sure there's a whole lot, so don't at me. But it's just like some teenagers who were like, you're not my real dad. And like got kicked out. And that's basically what happened with Lucifer. Everything that I was reading was like, he was apparently like a good looking angel, which I don't know what that means for blah blah light, but he was good. And he took everything that God gave him and was just like, nah, fuck you. Yeah. And then sinned like a motherfucker. And God was like, yeah, I'm done with your bullshit, and cast him out and decided that he was then going to be banished to hell and then changed his name to Satan. So Lucifer was a fallen angel and is now Satan and controls the demons. So really, demons are just like products of angels.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Interesting.
Interesting.
You mentioned Lucifer's good looks, and I remember that there was this thing where this church commissioned a guy to build a statue or carve a statue of Lucifer, and he made him too hot. And so they basically said, no, we don't want it. We want somebody else to do it. So they got his brother to do it, and the brother made him even hotter.
Hell yeah. I mean, if the story goes that he was too good looking and then like flaunted his looks around town and started sinning, you know,
classic.
It's a thing. So anyways,
yes.
Moving on from all of those. So angels can appear to you in your dreams. They can show up in front of you. They can show up in meditation. A lot of people will report that like they hear messages of God in meditation. And then there's signs that angels are near. Some of these I got some thoughts about.
Okay.
So obviously they show up as light. And so you can see like flashes of lights or sparkling light and everything. A lot of times in your peripheral vision. And when you look, it's gone.
Okay.
So cool. I mean, also I've heard that they're like super duper bright and you don't want to look right at them. It's like the sun.
Yeah.
So probably good that they're just like hanging out over here. Sometimes you can see that light with like your mind's eye, or like in your sleep, or, you know, if you're meditating, sure. You just an overwhelming sense of light. And then you have the feeling that something is near you, and it's warm, but also comforting.
Okay. I mean, I felt that with like Papa, like our grandfather.
Yeah. I see. That's where I'm like, I'm having some feelings. Because it just, the things that I found were like, you feel warm. So, okay.
You also feel warm with demons.
Yeah. So like, what's happening? But you also feel comfortable.
Right.
So maybe that's okay.
Yeah.
But you can also get spiritual chills. But then you can also be warm. So again, I don't know.
You're warm.
You're warm, but you're cold.
But you're cold. You're cold.
I'm cold. So, and then you can get ringing in your ears without having like tinnitus or something.
Okay.
Which I guess is angel whispers.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sure.
Sure. I would assume if I've got ringing in my ears, it's angels.
Okay.
Talking to me.
I'd much rather that than tinnitus.
Yeah. Getting butterflies in your stomach. Again, back to the whole anxiety thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
if that's true, then I'm constantly having angels. That's what I'm saying now. Instead of anxiety, I'm having angels.
I'm having angels. And they'll be like, what the
Say
fuck?
it like a Southern belle, like I'm getting the vipers.
I'm getting angels.
I'm having my angels.
Just wait until the demons show up. And then there's also familiar sense with no explanation, which yes and no. Like, I mean, I guess with no explanation, I've had scents before, like perfume and whatnot, whenever I don't wear perfume, but it's not like a familiar scent.
Right.
I have had like moments where I smell like our grandmother's house and I'm just out and about.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say that that's an angel.
Yeah.
Because it also, back to what an angel is, they were never once human.
Right. Exactly.
So it can't be our grandmother coming back and being like, hey, baby, like, no, you're not an angel. You're just a ghost.
Right.
So
interesting.
And then the very last thing was the feeling of not being alone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean,
so
just hauntings in general.
So that's why I have feelings about angels, because it seems like it's such a broad. Oh my gosh. Sorry if you're hearing panting. My dog is apparently so fucking hot. Come here. Get off the couch. Oh, fuck. Just dropped my laptop. Anyways, so yeah, the signs of an angel being around, I feel like, are way too convenient, I guess you would say, to other things that it's like,
right.
Well, was it just a ghost or was it an angel?
Yeah. It's kind of like whenever, like, it's kind of like with COVID, where it's like, it could be COVID or it could be a sinus infection or the flu or,
it could just be, I got the sniffles.
Yeah.
So, and it also will talk about like divine intervention or guidance or something. So like if you, like the car accident issue, if you manage to get in an accident and you were unscathed and then all of a sudden we're like, I'm going to be a musician. Like,
interesting.
An angel told you to do that.
Huh.
So
I've actually had an experience where I thought that like I should have died, but I came out relatively unscathed whenever I totaled my car that one time. And I remember there being so many butterflies like around. It was just, and it was something that I said to Mom at one point that I was like, there's just a lot of butterflies. And she was like, bitch is in shock.
So again, back to anxiety or angels.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So,
cool stuff.
Cool beans. What you got? What else?
So I did elementals. And elementals were actually kind of fun to look into. So basically, these were classified by Paracelsus.
Sure.
He was a physician, philosopher, and alchemist in 1493 to 1541 of the current era. Mm-hmm. So he basically said that there are entities that are born of the elements. So there are 4 different types. There's technically 5. There's the earth elementals, which are gnomes, the water elementals, which are undines. I'm guessing undines. I don't know. I saw it and thought it said underwear.
Mermaids, got it.
Yeah. And then fire elementals, which are salamanders, and then the air elementals, which are sylphs. I know, salamanders.
They're what? So okay. So we have made up things.
Uh-huh. And then salamanders. Yes.
Okay, sure.
100%.
Great.
So, earth elementals, the gnomes, they are
adorable.
Yes. They have come into pop culture like nobody's business. Everybody around me loves gnomes right now.
I have gnome Halloween things and Christmas things. And I guess I'm going to have to start getting Valentine's Day and Easter and just gnome it the fuck up.
Gnome it the fuck up. Yeah, one of my friends has gnome Valentine's Day gnomes at work. Mm-hmm. So they like rocks, flowers, trees, and minerals. They prefer caves and deep forests, and they are often the guardians of hidden treasure.
So fairies are not a part of this list.
So actually, fairies are a part of the gnome list. There's like fairies kind of fall into a bunch of different categories.
Fairies are terrifying as fuck.
They are.
I just got done listening to the 2 episodes by Morbid. If you guys have not listened to Morbid podcast, go listen to them. Yes. Ash, Elena, hey girl.
Hi.
But yeah, so I was listening to that and fairies are terrifying. Mm-hmm. There's one of them that they were talking about that it has no head and it just has eyeballs on its shoulders and its stomach is a mouth and it doesn't have a nose because why do you need a nose? Like, and it just like eats humans.
Of course it does. Why wouldn't it?
So like fucking fairies, man. Yeah. Anyways.
So the tree and forest sprites are part of this. Satyrs, pans, dryads, elves, and brownies.
Satyrs are the weird goat people.
Half goat, half human. Yeah, like Phil from Hercules.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I kept thinking like Minotaurs. Minotaur.
Yes. So the evidence of these hauntings, and this is what killed me for some of these. A little man, 2 to 3 feet tall, bearded, wearing caps. Like legitimately, that's what people see. They are often mischievous or threatening to humans. They have gruff voices. They do not like man-made metals, so they'll often hide metal objects and make them appear in weird places.
Well,
yeah, okay. I don't know why. I'm guessing because it's not natural to the planet.
Oh, man-made. Well, yeah, man-made. Still,
like steel and bronze and stuff. Those aren't things that occur naturally.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're cool with like iron.
Yes, because iron is a natural element.
Right.
Yes.
Cool.
They're attached to crystals, rocks, mines, and caves. They can make animals behave strangely or scare them. They can cause a person to become overwhelmed with being buried alive, or the fear of being buried alive, or agoraphobia, which is fear of leaving the home.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So I actually have an irrational fear of being buried alive.
Well, yeah. But you would think you would be okay because of all the like rocks and minerals.
I know,
here.
right? It's weird to be a geologist and be like, I'm terrified of being buried alive.
No. I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that if a gnome is giving you that fear, fuck you, gnome, because you've got all the geology shit.
Legit, yeah, that's
so. True. No, I think being buried alive is a legit fear.
Okay, good.
So
at least I'm not weird in that respect.
Respect.
So that's our gnome friends. The next one are waters, the undines or undines, I'm not sure. Streams, rivers, marshes, ponds, waterfalls, oceans, fountains, and then they're also associated with precipitation like rain, mist, and fog.
So again, with the fairies, and I'm going back to Morbid's episode, the fairies that hang out around water are they're just dumb. It's not that they're dumb, but like, if a kid walks by, they're just like, all right, and they drown them.
Yeah. It's crazy. Also, greatly enjoy the way I spelled mermaids on here. Mermaids.
M-U-R-M. Mermaids.
So that was purely by accident. So water sprites are mermaids. They can appear as human or creatures. They are emotional. They love beauty. And they actually like humans. But they also like drowning humans. So
maybe it's they just don't know how to play with humans.
Maybe. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe they just have no idea. Like
they're like, come into the water with us, and we're like, no, thank you. And they're like, no, really. And you're like, no, and they're like, get the fucking water. And you're like, oh my god.
It's like a child that's way too young that gets a kitten and doesn't know how to play with it.
Right. Yeah. And the cat scratches them. And
exactly.
The whole thing.
So in other cultures, there are water elementals called nagas that are half human and half serpent. And they are...
Serpent?
Serpent, yes. Am I saying that weird? Serpent?
You said serpent.
I know. That's why I said it again.
Surfing USA.
Okay, no. Okay. So they are associated with prosperity, hidden treasure, and they are protectors of the Dharma, which is, with Indian culture and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Angering them can cause illnesses.
Of course.
And haunting evidence, you become obsessed with water. It can cause people to commit suicide by drowning. Mm-hmm. You can get frequent and unexplained plumbing problems in your house. I felt like I had to... Because plumbing problems, sometimes people use insides as plumbing. And then random pools of water appearing.
Okay.
I feel like there are things that you could use to explain those things away, but...
The random pools of watering, though?
Yeah, I don't know. So, fire elementals, the salamanders. I feel like I'm naming team names at this point, like the fighting salamanders.
It's like weird Harry Potter houses.
It really is. So power over flame and smoke. They do not directly communicate with humans. They're seen as balls of light, fireballs, or tongues of fire.
Of course they don't interact with humans. They're salamanders. They don't have human language. Yeah. They just go...
For those wondering what that noise was, it was when he's sticking her tongue out and going... Blah, 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 blah. So the evidence of this is a sudden obsession with fire, which is like most everybody in their teen years, right?
Yeah.
Unexplained eruption of fire.
Oh, that changed.
That changed really quick, yes. Fireballs, self-reflecting orbs of light or tongues of flames, or objects catching fire, but not people. It made it very clear that self-combustion is totally different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they attributed that
So if you're just like sitting in your house and your chair catches on fire...
It's a fire elemental, baby.
Got it. Yes. Salamander.
So
call him Steve.
Because I know Tori's going to be listening to this. Steve. Air elementals are sylphs. They are associated with clouds, snow, gases, winds, etc. They prefer mountaintops, and they reside in the air around us. And these are the classic winged fairies that we think of. That's what they say. Also angels. They have said that angels are associated with that too, which was interesting.
I don't know, because everything that I was reading is angels, it's not necessarily that they have wings or fly or anything. They're just a ball of light.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's kind of a weird, like, there was a weird crossover there.
this whole thing has
weird crossovers. So haunted evidence, they like to throw or break objects. They're associated with feelings of sexual assault. Like, what?
What? Wait, which one? Wait, these are the flying ones?
The air elementals, yes, the sylphs. Like,
Okay. Weird.
Yeah. Agitation or fighting among humans. Suicidal impulse to jump from high buildings.
Because of the air.
Yeah. Or it's also called Call of the Void. If you don't know what that is.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abduction experiences and missing time.
Ooh, we should definitely do an episode about missing time sometime.
Yeah.
I've heard some stories and it's fascinating.
Yeah. Joy. Okay, so we go from like totally distraught to like joyful music, like, bell tones, and happy party.
This is like I had a weird personality test that I had to take for my latest job. And it was like a list of 20 items. And it would be like, all right, rank these in highest to lowest as far as what you feel.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And it was like, I like puppies. I like ice cream. I think of suicide. I want to kill myself. I want to murder children. You're like, what the fuck? Like, who's putting those at the top? I mean, surely someone is, but also at the same time, like, what?
I feel like that's also like clearly the right answer here.
If you fail this personality test, like, shit.
Damn. Yeah. So then there's also seeing black dogs, horses, badgers, hares, and pigs.
Which is interesting. Black dogs has actually really been associated with the devil and
it's a big demonic thing.
And like hell.
Yes.
So,
and then fairy rings, like just outside your front or back door. So
I just, after like hearing what I've heard about fairies, I want nothing to do with
it. So if you don't know what a fairy ring is a circle of mushrooms that grow naturally. Like you didn't plant those mushrooms, and it's supposed to be a place, like a sacred area for fairies and stuff. And then there's the fifth type, which is an artificial elemental. And this is really a fascinating thing. They call them the tulpa. And these are thought form created entities where a culture or a group of people obsess about this particular type of thought or object or something like that, that it actually ends up becoming an entity. And there was a really amazing experiment. So this has actually been seen, they believe, with the rake and Slender Man. So
Reiki?
No, the rake. It's one of the spirits that we're going to get into in our creature features. Creature feature. So
that's going to be the intro for it. It's a creature feature.
It's a creature feature. So basically, so Slender Man and the Rake were creepypasta that were created, and they became such a cultural phenomenon that people think that they have actually become a thought form and manifested as a real entity now. So that becomes a problem for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah.
But a fascinating thing that was done in Kindred Spirits, I know I keep going back to Kindred Spirits, but Adam and Amy actually had a suspicion that one of the entities they were dealing with in one of their latest episodes was actually a thought form. And they basically gave it entirely new features and entirely new backstory and all that kind of stuff. And it was something like, his name is like Edward, and he has a sister and a dad whose name is like Claude. I don't even remember the names. I'm making them up at this point. He's got a mother who's named Bella, and he really likes to interact with K2 meters and all this other kind of stuff. And they said this with the intention of this spirit is real. Mm-hmm. And then when they went back and did the investigation, like they sat and talked about it for a long time. When they went back and did the investigation, the spirit started interacting with the K2. Whenever Chip Coffee came in and did a reading on the space, he was like, I'm getting an E name, like Edward or something. I'm getting that he has a sister. I'm getting that, and so it's like, and then they ended up doing an EVP session with it where they asked, what is your mother's name? And it responded with the mother's name that they made up. And so that creates this entirely new realm of ghost hunting and possibility of creating and destroying your own entities.
So not to go back to Harry Potter, but isn't this a Bogart or a Bogart?
Yeah. So that's actually something that popped up in the research was a Bogart. Basically, you create an entity out of your own fear. So that was kind of the interesting thing. And they told the lady, like, this is something that was completely made up and you can eventually just wish it away by pretending it's not there and saying this person does not exist and it will go away eventually.
Interesting.
So things that you might notice with a elemental haunting, a lot of these we already talked about, but poltergeist-like activity, things going missing or being moved, aggressive physical touch, balls of light or wisps, food items spoiling before their expiration date, which was interesting.
The bag of bagels that I got from Kroger the other day, that were already spoiled whenever I got them.
Yeah.
So like, fucking elemental, get out of my supermarket.
Exactly.
Asshole.
How dare you?
I wanted those bagels, damn it.
Disrupt my fair life milk.
What?
I actually had some milk go bad like 3 weeks before it was supposed to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, we were talking about bagels, so.
And then hearing far-off music like harps, violins, drumming, or whimsical songs, which drumming could also be a Native American thing.
And you don't fuck with that shit.
Fuck with Native American anything. So what to do if you encounter them?
Apparently just give it a new backstory.
Right. We can be creative. No, so you leave an offering. Basically saying, I want to live in peace. You can apologize for pissing it off and then be like, what can we do to live peacefully together?
Seems like such an agreeable spirit.
Right.
Like, you're just like, I'm so sorry. And it's like, that's okay, honey.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Hang wind chimes as a warding kind of thing. Like the sound, I guess the bell will keep them away from your property. Hang iron horseshoes with the intention of this will protect me.
So iron horseshoes, really iron stuff in general, are good deterrents of fairies.
Yes.
And I think gnomes.
Yes.
So
interesting. But I put in here in parentheses, it wards off the wee folk. Because that's how they put it in their thing. The wee folk.
The wee folk.
Ring a bell.
Ring a bell.
Ring a bell. Wait it out or move.
Sure. Okay. Why wait it out or move when you can just say, I'm sorry?
Right. I'm so sorry.
My bad.
I didn't mean to. Please stop catching my desk on fire.
No, that's a salamander.
That's a salamander. That's right.
Get it
we
together.
just need to catch him and put him in a cage.
Figure out your shit.
Appease by honoring nature. And it said in a big way, like planting trees or making a garden or something like, okay. I'm not poor.
Right.
The last one.
It's not like you got to buy eggs. You're fine.
Right. Yeah. Right. The last one was salt.
Okay.
Just salt. I'm assuming that it's putting salt in the key corners of your house.
Or like on your thresholds and stuff. No, but
it just said
salt.
Salt. Like you're salting before an ice storm or something. So there is a famous a famous elemental that's at the Leap House in Scotland. Is that in Scotland or Ireland? I don't remember.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, there was a famous elemental in the Leap Mansion. That's what it's called, Leap Mansion. That
is it the Leap Mansion or the Leap Mansion?
It's the Leap Mansion.
That was a little more British. I don't think we got the Scottish or Irish accent.
I'm so terrible there.
I get it. Aye, donkey.
Donkey.
Donkey. It's the Leap Mansion.
It's like having to say Dola to get the Australian going.
I still can't do it. It turns pirate every time.
Yeah. But they think that this was a protective creature that was summoned by the Druids and that it actually has a decomposing face and it smells rotten. So
not a demon.
Not a demon, but it's an elemental.
But it's just a thought.
Yes. And from what I remember from the episode of Ghost Adventures that we watched on this, it was one of the very early seasons with Nick, that it was in the oubliette, if you remember what the oubliette is.
Labyrinth. Yes, got it.
Oh, yeah, there was in the labyrinth, there's an oubliette. I forgot about that. Wow.
The oubliette.
The oubliette. So that is my rundown on elementals.
All right.
And I think I have the rest of it, right? I've got shadow and portals.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do portals because portals are really quick.
I had a thought.
Yes.
So,
what are your thoughts?
Elemental. So the thought one.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an imaginary friend growing up.
Yes. It could very well be a thought, an artificial elemental.
I mean,
it could also be a ghost. Like there have been a lot of imaginary friends that have turned out to be intelligent spirits.
Oh, that's a little terrifying.
Horrifying, yes.
Somehow more terrifying than you just being like, I thought of a weird purple dinosaur and then Barney exists. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rare.
Okay.
So
portals.
Yes, portals. So portals are actually really controversial because there's not a lot known about them. There are specific areas where there's like 75% sure there's a portal there. And one of those is Bobby Mackey's.
Fuck Bobby Mackey's.
Fuck Bobby Mackey's. We never go in there. If we go there, it'll be in the middle of the day with like 40 people.
I thought you said in the middle of the night. No, it was like, shit.
I'm not messing with Bobby Mackey's.
I mean, I would stay.
Yeah, but still. You would stay?
Yeah.
For the night?
Sure.
Ay, Dios mío. Okay.
I'm for science.
For science. There's some things even I wouldn't do for science. I'm sure that if I was...
anything for science.
Oh my God.
But I won't do that.
Okay. So, most of it's theory or speculation, but basically these are doorways where beings can move in between different realms. Mm-hmm. Whether that realm is dimensions or the spirit world or time is what's being debated. So basically you can have interdimensional beings that are coming between like multiverses. Doctor. Yes. You can have,
it's apparently what this podcast is going to be. It's just going to be pop culture references.
Yeah, basically.
Sorry, guys.
It can be time travelers. It can be actual spirits. It can be demons. Like there's all kinds of things it could be. It's not limited to a specific location or region or like if it's sacred ground or something like that. There's actually speculation that there's some people that say that they're super rare. And there's some people that say every home has one, which is honestly not okay with me, but every home has one. Mirrors are the big one.
Yes.
With portals.
I've heard of, so way back when, I don't know times, because like, I don't know times, but like 1800s or something like that, whenever, computers and stuff didn't exist. Anyways.
Oh, I thought you were going to say when computers came around, I was like, damn, you don't know times.
I don't know times. No, but it was a thing that you had to, whenever someone passed away, you had to cover all of the mirrors or turn them around so that their soul wouldn't get sucked into the mirror. And you also had to open a window so that it could be released out.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So
that makes sense. So typically you'll see around these areas balls of light, odd creatures, strange shapes, mists, or fog.
What do we mean by odd creatures?
I'm guessing
salamanders.
Like I was going to say maybe elementals. I don't know.
Maybe.
They can be called energy vortexes or just vortex. I didn't like the use of the word vortexes. I like vortices. So I put vortices. But, blamed for increasing paranormal activity. Some people say that they can open and close like whenever they want to. Some people say they're permanently open, like Bobby Mackey's is supposedly permanently open. Let's see. Could be our favorite, a correlation between portal locations and ley lines. Because every time Zach sees contrails, he calls it a ley line. So it's supposedly it's where ley lines cross.
Yeah. So
for those who don't know what a ley line is, it's a straight alignment that is drawn between various historical structures and landmarks. So I believe that like the pyramids of Giza have a landline or a ley line associated with it.
But these are made up ley lines.
Yes, they are. They're like, made up ley lines. Like
like if the pyramids of Giza did not exist,
there wouldn't be anything there.
Right.
But they feel like the ley lines are essentially a spiritual connection. Like these were laid along this line for a reason. So there was an interesting thing that they were doing. I believe it was, I don't remember what it was. It was one of the series. It may have been the one with Cindy Kaza, where it was a group of ghost hunters and they were called out to a town and they had to investigate the random stuff that was going around in the town. And they actually figured out that the ley lines between all of the different locations formed a pentagram.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And they were like, we might be dealing with demons. So
diamonds. Sorry,
So,
that'll happen every time.
It will happen every time. So fun fact, contrails do not count as ley lines. Contrails are just or just steam that is being condensed really fast behind the superheated air of a jet. So not paranormal in any way, not extraterrestrial, not the government trying to.
We're talking about planes, like airplanes in the sky.
Yes,
jet, contrail.
Yes.
Like, okay.
Zach Bagans thinks that they're ley lines. They're not ley lines.
First off, let's talk about this. Ley lines. Lay, like lay down.
Ley.
Okay. Well, either way, they're down.
They're down.
They're down. It's like a lay.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Cemeteries are thought to be portals, and but there are actually quite a large group of paranormal investigators that say that cemeteries aren't haunted.
I think it depends on the cemetery. It depends on who's there. It depends on what's happened there.
It depends on the intention. Like,
like I used to work by a cemetery, and I swear there were spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the office building, had experiences.
I work near a cemetery right now, and we have experiences.
So I wouldn't say it's a portal, but I also wouldn't say that it's not haunted.
Right, exactly. They can form near bodies of water, could be formed near energy sources. They could form near bridges. Let's see. I actually found a really interesting, there was a girl's master's thesis. Her name was Julie Rogers, and she did this in 2010. That it was mirrors.
Julie.
Yeah, right. Mirrors as portals, images of mirrors on ancient Mayan ceramics. And it's basically the Mayans used mirrors as a communication tool between humans and gods. So this isn't a new concept by any means. Huh. So that's kind of cool.
It also makes me think that they just were shining it at the sun and then they were blind and they were like, oh, it's a godly symbol. Like, no, yes. You're blind because you stared at the sun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's also the theory that portals can be created.
With like the Ouija board.
Yes, with a Ouija board and what's known as the stigma theory, which is how they think Bobby Mackey's formed, where there was a traumatic event like conflict, murder, suicide. There was a mass, I don't want to say mass extinction because that's not the correct thing, a mass slaughter of a bunch of animals on that land that may have opened this portal. Yeah. And then, of course, there was the murder, the alleged murder where the guys cut off the girl's head and threw it down the well. Uh-huh. That's what they think was what caused that. So that was the quick rundown on portals. And now we're going to get into shadow figures, which shadow figures are kind of like, I think I'm experiencing shadow figures myself right now. So once I get into this, I'll explain why I think I'm experiencing shadow figures.
All right.
There's no real explanation for these. There are a lot of different realms of thought on these. So there is, of course, the paranormal explanation, and then there is the medical explanation. And I see both. I understand both. So basically, these are shapeless and dark masses that you see in your periphery. Once you turn to look at them, they're gone. So kind of like the light for angels. They're different than ghosts, but I enjoyed how they explained how they were different than ghosts. They can move between walls, like
because ghosts cannot.
Ghosts do that, so I don't know. Have no human features. Some ghosts can't manifest that way. They typically don't wear clothes except for the Hat Man and hooded figures.
So they're just naked?
Yeah, they're just formless. So
it's not just like a dick running around.
No.
Okay.
That would be hilarious. Put some pants on.
funny shadows.
Funny shadows. So the Hat Man is a specific shadow figure that he supposedly wears a 1930s fedora, and it is said that he is the devil himself.
That's so specific.
I know, right? Yeah, I don't know why 1930s of all
Reddit
things.
oddly specific.
Yes, oddly specific. People experience feelings of dread. Sometimes they can be child-sized, which would just fuck me up.
Oh,
Like,
I
no.
thought you were meaning the dread was child size.
Dread is child-sized.
Child-sized dread.
That's how I'm going to explain when I'm like just a little.
It's like a
that's right.
child size.
Yes, I'm going to have a little bit of the angels.
I have little angels.
I have angels.
Child-sized angels.
Look like smoke or steam. They can appear to move on a track, and this was kind of interesting. Like they're on roller skates or like on a little railroad track that they don't really have like movement.
Up and down.
They just glide. And then,
so I assume they don't have like feet.
Right. This next one, they can hop or do a strange dance.
Same.
Just imagine dad dancing, like pointing and moving your hips. And they're probably the creepiest thing of all of this. They're known to just stare at the floor. Like, I feel like that's super creepy. I don't know why.
Like, okay, so then how are they? Continue on. I have questions, but I'll wait.
So in different cultures, they're known as different things. They're also called shades.
Shades?
Shades. Yeah.
Like a lampshade?
Spelt the same, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The jinn, which is Islamic.
But jinns are also genies, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes, they are. So basically, jinn are considered malevolent spirits in general. So,
okay.
And then the Nalusa Chito, which is a Choctaw Indian term.
Got it.
Which is interesting.
That makes sense.
Many people can't agree on whether or not they're evil, helpful, or neutral. Like we generally think of them as malevolent, but we don't know enough about them to actually give what we think they are. So the term shadow people was actually coined by Heidi Hollis whenever she initially started going through this. And they can indicate someone's under psychic attack. It could be interdimensional beings, extraterrestrials, time travelers, or otherwise otherworldly. Let's see. They sometimes, depending on what you like, your mental state, they can appear as fleeting images, which is what I've been experiencing. Sometimes you can see them in full view manner, like when you look up, they're there. And then whenever you have developed or delved into a much worse mental state, you can look at them, look away, and look back, and they're still there.
Oh, shit.
So luckily, I have not delved beyond the fleeting image thing. So scientific reasons for this.
Now I'm trying to think. I mean, I see like sometimes at the stairs, it'll seem like there's something standing there.
Yes.
And I know you've mentioned that
I've
before.
seen it, yeah.
It's like, so the way the stairs are at the house that I'm in, my parents' house, it goes up halfway and then there's like a little landing and then it goes up the rest of the way. And I'll see it either all the way at the top or right at that middle landing. And I'll look over and there's nothing there.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe it was just a cat or like something, but it's just every now and then it just feels like something's over there.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually at my parents' house, I have, I sleep in this. So oddly enough, our parents' house is the same house that we grew up in, the same floor plan, but flip-flopped and slightly smaller. I don't know how they managed this. Yeah, very much smaller. So I'm sleeping in the same quote unquote bedroom that I slept in when I was younger. And I will not sleep with the lights off there.
And for me, I'm sleeping in the same room as well when I was younger. But in that house, it has a bathroom attached to it, and then it has a closet that's attached to the attic. In the house that we grew up in, that closet terrified the fuck out of me.
I actually think that closet was a portal.
And it doesn't here. I have no issues with it. I still have nightmares about that closet.
Right.
So maybe it was a portal. Right. And there was Taylor. Okay. So there was one time that I was laying in bed and I was on the phone with Justin, one of my good friends, and all of a sudden Oh no, that was whenever a roach flew out. But so there was that time a roach came at me and I screamed and it was terrifying. But there was another time that I was laying in bed and all of a sudden I heard this like,
oh, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
And it felt like it's hard to explain, but it felt like a black mist came out of that bathroom and it freaked me the fuck out. That's probably the first time that I've ever been terrified and I've like turned all the lights on. So like everything that we're talking about, maybe it was a portal.
Yeah.
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 Because that was not cool.
Yes. So in Mom and Dad's current house.
Yes.
The thing that gets me to not turn the lights off anymore is one time when I was there, I was laying on my back. I woke up from a dead sleep and in the corner where like my dog sleeps on the couch or on the chair, and right behind her was a shadow figure that was so tall it was bent up against the ceiling. And I flipped my light on and there was nothing there. And I was like, never again. I'm never turning my lights off. So, but I actually had an experience in college where my closet was a portal. That I was living in an apartment. I had been there for 3 years and all 3 years was terrifying. And every time I would turn my back, like if I was laying in bed, if I turned my back to the closet, I could feel something come up behind me. And if I turned to face it, it would move back into the closet.
It's like in
it was awful.
The old house, the hallway between our two rooms. Like if I had to put something in your room, I would like, okay. And I would like brace myself and I would run and I'd put it in the room and then I would run all the way back to my room, close the door and then put the cold door up against my back. It felt like there was something there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's actually, we brought that up to our dad and he was like, I don't feel it. Cause I felt that too. I always had to run to my room the second I got in my bathroom or got behind my bedroom door and closed it.
I also have nightmares of your bathroom.
Yeah. My bathroom was kind of scary. Yeah. So, Dad told us one time, cause he was like, I don't feel it. And it took him right before we moved, that he was standing in that hallway and he was like, I felt it that time. Like when everybody else was out.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was whenever Mom was living in Bartlesville and then you and I had already moved out and he was the only one there and he was packing up. And he said that he stood in that hallway because he just didn't understand what we were talking about. And he was like, I felt like something was watching me.
Yeah. And it felt like something like was
watching you and then chasing after you.
Yeah. It was on me. It was coming.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it turned out that, so we have a brother that died when he was 2.5 months old. Before I was born, his name was Josh. And it turns out that Josh's stuff was housed above that hallway.
But I don't feel like it was
so that interesting because I got a very negative feeling from it.
Same.
And I remember going up there after he told me that and saying like, haha, Josh, I know you're trying to scare me. You don't have I know it's you. You don't have to do that. And it stopped. After that.
No, I didn't have anything.
Okay.
But to me, I don't feel like it didn't feel like a sibling thing. Like, it was chasing me kind of thing. It was like
if
scary.
it catches you, it's going to kill you. Yeah.
Okay.
It was really bad.
So to me, I don't think it was Josh, but
who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? Right. Either way, it was not cool.
Right. Not cool, bro. So what I'm currently experiencing with shadow figures is, and this has been past several years, that I will think I'm seeing people walking behind my house or in my backyard out of the corner of my eye. When I look, there's no one there. And it has been consistent. Like the first couple times it did it, I was like, man, you're just like, it's just the wind blowing and it's moving some leaves around, but it is consistently the same motion, the same place every time. So it's been kind of freaky. But that leads me to scientific reasons for why people might see shadow figures.
Because you're crazy.
So sleep paralysis is the big one.
Okay.
You wake up and you're fully conscious, but your body hasn't woken up yet. And people experience a lot of dread. They see entities moving around the periphery of their vision. They have seen, what's known as the old hag that will come and like crawl over you and sit on your chest and try to suffocate you.
What a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm like, now that I say that, that's going to happen to me.
Right. I've only experienced sleep paralysis once, and it was because I had taken I don't remember. It was like a muscle relaxer that I got after that accident that I was like the guardian angel. And I remember like I could not move my arms and legs. And I was just like, but I didn't feel any kind of dread or anything. I was just like, wow, this is the most relaxed I've ever been. So
was it sleep paralysis or were those drugs just hitting real good?
I think they were just hitting real good. Heightened emotion is always a big one.
Okay.
And then sleep deprivation. So it has been scientifically proven that sleep does something to restore our body and refresh the neurons.
If you do not get enough sleep,
you will die.
You will die.
Yes.
You will go insane.
Yes. So there was one person that did a study on, he went 4 days without sleep.
And he died.
He died. There was another person that did another.
Oh, wait, he really died?
No, well, there was a dude that did a study without sleep and he died.
Okay.
But this dude did a 4-day study and he said each progressive night he was seeing more and more of these shadow figures.
Well, yeah, because your brain
just doesn't know what to do.
The neurons are firing and it has no way to recognize anything.
Exactly. Deliriant substances, basically hallucinogenics, LSD, that kind of thing. And then schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
Fair.
So as someone who is not experiencing any of these things, for me to see shadow figures, I'm either undiagnosed with something, which I see a therapist and so many doctors, and I don't have schizophrenia or bipolar. I don't have anything, medically wrong with me. I don't take anything that would cause that kind of thing. I get plenty of sleep.
Lots of sleep.
Lots of sleep. And then I also heightened emotion really isn't whenever I'm experiencing these things, I'm not heightened emotionally.
Oh, okay. I was like, but you in general?
Yeah, me in general. I'm a very type A person, very anxious and yeah. But no, typically I'm sitting in bed and relaxing and watching TV and I'll see it out of the corner of my eye.
But what if that is enough to go from that such heightened state of stress to a lower calm environment?
And that's a release.
That's the release that your brain is like, nope, something's not okay.
Huh.
And it's trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That'd be interesting.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. So that does it. That is my rundown on shadow people and our foray into terrible things that have happened to ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was only a smattering of the paranormal things that we've experienced. A smattering. So,
you know what else I think is a portal? The old man's place.
Oh, yes. We had, I say lake house. We had...
It was a trailer.
A double wide trailer.
Near a lake.
We had two. It was one right next to the other.
Ours was nice.
Ours was nice. But the next door was one that was owned by this really old guy when we were growing up. And he was basically deaf. And he always played his music super loud. And we could always hear it going to bed.
Church.
Yes.
He partied it up. I guess you got to get your sinning in before.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, whatever.
When else are you going to do it?
Fair.
But once he passed away, we bought that place from him so that we could, the theory was we would have two places that whenever we grew up, we would, have places to stay and stuff.
Right, yeah.
We ended up using that place more as a storage unit than anything.
Yeah.
And that place got really scary really quick. And
and as soon as we got it, it was terrifying.
Yes.
The dogs... Our dad put the dogs over there I forget why. I think the grandparents were coming over. And so just to, obviously it's a trailer. It's kind of small. So to give more room, he put the dogs over there. And as soon as he left, they started howling and
scratching at the door.
Yeah. So,
and they were terrified when they ran out of there.
It's terrifying. It wasn't too bad when we would walk in the daytime, but it's still just,
there was something wrong.
Was heavy.
Yes.
It was, ugh.
Yes. And I remember I would just get a really bad feeling, just something was watching me out the windows.
Yeah. 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 From the room that we were in that faced the old man place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or even just walking by from the driveway and stuff.
I was okay in the driveway, but at night I for sure I wanted to make sure those blinds were closed, the blinds were down, and I didn't want to look.
I slept with the lights on.
Not when I was there.
Not when you were there, because there was somebody with me. But when it was just me, I slept with the lights on.
Yeah.
So, fun.
Cool.
So that does it for episode 2.
Woohoo.
Episode 3 is going to be the first of our creature feature, which is going to be skinwalkers, which is always a fun topic.
Yep.
It's a terrifying and fun topic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what episode 4 is going to be yet. We'll figure it out when we get there. I know we planned something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
or if you guys have anything, hit us up.
Absolutely.
And let us know.
Yeah.
Or if you have your own stories, my only request is you send us your favorite alcoholic beverage as well.
Yes.
So if you're going to DM us or email us, let us know like whatever beer you like, or if you like margaritas, or if you have like a weird
cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we will drink the drink and
tell the
your
story.
So
come for the booze, stay for the booze.
Oh.
So, like always, hit us up on all of our social medias. We've got 400 at this point. If you find us, it's really not hard to find us.
Just if you find a cool ass band, it's not us.
It's not us. They're only on Instagram. So,
and apparently Gmail.
So ghostsisterstexas@gmail.com, Ghost Sisters Texas on Instagram, and then the Ghost Sisters everywhere else.
Is it Ghost Sisters TX?
TX.
Yeah.
Ghost Sisters TX. So thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and
I hope you stay spooky.
Hope you stay spooky.
Spookarooker.
Spooker dookers. Okay.